Hi everyone, Andy here. Welcome to the Crypto Wealth Cafe, brought to you by Dacxi, powering serious crypto wealth for serious crypto wealth investors. Now, I just want to start the show, I think, by talking just quickly about the recent market activity. Have seen quite a significant sell-off, just been all downhill really since the beginning of the year. Bitcoin now today is around $36,000, basically it's about a 50% fall since the all-time high back in November. But I think, the key point to remember, this is just short-term volatility. That's the price you pay for that kind of upside performance is you get volatility both to the upside and the downside, certainly in the short term and in the medium term. But on the long term, Bitcoin's price appreciation has always been up and to the right. So I think, you got to understand, what are you? Are you a trader? Are you a speculator? Or are you a long-term investor with a long-term wealth building mindset? So I think, as long as you're in it for the long term, you don't need to be too worried about these short-term market corrections, because it's just what happens, as we keep saying. Expect volatility. If you do have a long-term wealth building mindset, then these corrections can often be a good time to accumulate more coins, add to your position for the long term. So with that said, I think we should get on with the show. So this is the cover of Bloomberg Business Week at the moment. The big chill. Investors are bracing for more pain as a cold snap descends on the market. And I suppose, the reason I'm just using this is it's not just crypto that is down at the moment. It's really all markets. And that's due to a number of reasons. Obviously, there's, there's Omicron. There's the prospect of the Fed pulling back on the easy money. So it's just kind of putting market-wide jitters across all global markets. So particularly what people like to call risk assets or risk markets. So technology stocks are down at the moment, and of course crypto assets are down at the moment. If we look at coin market cap, so you can see, Bitcoin 36,400, Ethereum 2,400. I mean, no, I don't have good news here in the short term. Bitcoin's down 13% in the last 7 days, Ethereum 22%, and if it's the last 60 days, Bitcoin down 33% and Ethereum 40%. Are we near the bottom? Don't know, maybe. Look, no one knows. Don't believe anyone who tells you that they do with any real accuracy, because it's very difficult to predict in the short term. But even if we do go down further, I'm okay with it. I think in the long term, as we'll learn today, I couldn't be more bullish on crypto assets for the long term, for specifically this decade and the lead up to 2030. And I've got some pretty compelling data to back that up in this show, but we'll just go through some headlines if you like. First, we'll look at the Bitcoin chart. So again, like I said before, not really much good news since the all-time high back in November, which is here. Just been downhill since then. Of course, we did have the Fed came out today and said they're going to keep interest rates at zero. Possible hike will be appropriate soon. So they, as I say, they announced that they'll hold interest rates near zero, but we will be edging closer to removing some of that stimulus that has been provided to financial markets since 2020, which of course meant that all markets had an incredible year in 2021. And so as the markets have been pricing in this lack of stimulus, that's why we've seen markets stall a little bit in the meantime. Now, looking at a shorter term chart, this is from Dave the Wave, he's a Kiwi guy. He's a pretty good technical analyst, and so he's kind of plot. This is Bitcoin going down. So you can see Bitcoin in this descending channel since November last year. Possible bounce here today, with the Fed's announcement. Some were looking for, a bit of a bounce. We haven't really followed through on that, and too soon to say. But even if we have bounced off the bottom of this descending channel, there'll be resistance to try and get out of it. But even if we did go down, eventually we could potentially hit this is the buy zone, which would mean if you got to buy Bitcoin down here, anywhere sort of in the mid-20s, although that seems, it's a bit frightening to imagine Bitcoin going that low. That would be, what we like to say is a generational buying opportunity if Bitcoin did get back down there. I can show you here on the kind of the longer term chart. So the buy zone, it's really this zone here, right? And it's not often that you really get the opportunity to pick up Bitcoin in this zone. It did spent a long time in this zone between 2015 and the kind of the beginning of 2017, which seems a long time ago now. So if you got to buy Bitcoin here, well, you've done extraordinarily well in the long term. Even if, back here in early 2019, Bitcoin was back in this buy zone. If you got to buy Bitcoin there, you did extraordinarily well. Again, in the COVID crash of March 2020, back in briefly into the buy zone. Of course, you did extraordinarily well. So if Bitcoin does fall back down into the buy zone, as much as it's going to be a little bit doom and gloom from the market commentators, man, you would have to look at that as a spectacular buying opportunity for the long term. All right. Look, this meme this chart's a little bit of a meme, but it kind of makes the same point in another way. Really just saying that the white line is average Bitcoin price, which doubles every year. So basically, Bitcoin does double every year on average, but of course it is volatile up and down as well. But you can see, on a kind of averaged out time frame, Bitcoin doubles every single year. So if you just kind of keep in mind that long term, play the long game, don't get scared out by the short term volatility. Long enough time horizon, you're going to do well. Yeah, I mean, same thing. Always remember to zoom out. So, on a zoomed, it's hard to see that this is zoomed out, but on a long enough time frame, you've done well. The last 5 years, Bitcoin is up over 3,000%. So, it's simple as that, really. What else is happening just on the geopolitical front? IMF, International Monetary Fund. They're not happy with El Salvador. They're urging El Salvador to remove Bitcoin as legal tender. I think they've downgraded the financial situation there. Edward Snowden, you'll know who Edward Snowden is. Did you know that Edward Snowden is a Bitcoiner? He's very supportive of Bitcoin, for a number of reasons, but really because he sees Bitcoin as a monetary freedom, really, outside of the control of any one state. And so I think, Mr. Snowden is saying here is that the IMF, they sound nervous because if El Salvador do continue down the Bitcoin path, other countries are potentially motivated to do the same thing. And again, then it's the dominoes start to fall and the game theory kicks in, and it becomes a question of accumulation. Who can acquire the most Bitcoin the fastest? Speaking of which, Turkey's president has instructed his ruling party to explore cryptocurrencies. So there are murmurings that Turkey are looking to follow the El Salvador playbook. Mr. Putin is pretty busy with what's going on around the Ukraine at the moment, but he's also some murmurings about Russia going heavier into Bitcoin mining. So again, you can just see there's At first it happens slowly, and then it happens quickly. Read into that what you will. Okay. Cathie Wood. Do you know who Cathie Wood is? Cathie Wood is, I suppose, she's the founder, CEO of ARK Investments, one of the big technology funds or technology investors in global technology investing. They have huge positions in Tesla and also Bitcoin. And yeah, so Cathie put out, or Cathie and ARK put out, they do an annual report, which is called, I believe, the Big Ideas report. Yeah, here it is. Better if I can put it on screen. It's called, Big Ideas 2022. So I've just got, the whole report is long. It's like 150 pages, but it's a great read. But I've just got some highlights from the report that kind of show just how bullish these guys are at ARK on Bitcoin and crypto across the decade ahead. So they say here, we believe that 5 innovation platforms will generate significant equity market returns over the long term. By long term, they mean between 2020 and 2030. So these are the kind of the areas they focus on in the report: AI, battery technology like Tesla, blockchain, robotics, and gene sequencing. So I'm really just going to focus on blockchain, but kind of the high level here. They say blockchain has the potential to go from 1.4 million trillion valuation in 2020 to just under 50 trillion in 2030. So that's a compound annual growth rate of 43%. So remember when we said Bitcoin is basically doubling every 2 years on average? Yeah, I mean, that's kind of in the same ballpark here as what ARK is saying, right? So again, it's just disruptive innovation technologies are ready for prime time across the decade ahead. So, blockchain, digital wallets, Internet of Things, a lot of this stuff kind of is all linked in together. So digital wallets, most of you have probably got a digital wallet, but a Venmo, Cash App, and then all the web Exodus, MetaMask, all the web wallets just exploding at the moment. They see the global digital wallet opportunity could scale at 78% annual growth rate, and it just makes sense. Any kid today, as they go forward into adulthood, they're going to open up a bunch of digital wallets, and that just grows the crypto wealth space. Public blockchains are enabling a coordination revolution. This is a great slide. I thought this was interesting. Investors once thought that the internet was just another channel, right? So, your channels would be radio, TV, newspaper, internet. But that's not what happened. Instead, the internet slowly and then suddenly just facilitated all those channels. So now internet is just one big category, and within the internet has swallowed up radio, TV, news, communication, e-commerce. It's all just the internet, right? Something similar could happen with blockchains, right? As crypto assets are issued on public blockchains, this will impact all asset classes. And so just as the internet turned information into packets online, public blockchains are likely to turn all assets into transactions on chain. So you have cryptocurrencies, crypto equities, commodities, art, NFTs, DAOs, everything is just going to be tokenized on the blockchain. That is where we're heading slowly and then suddenly. So another way of saying all this is that blockchains are empowering a number of revolutions. With Bitcoin, it's the money revolution. With DeFi, it's the financial revolution. With Web3, it's the internet revolution. So these are all just incredible, global trends that are taking place at the moment. I'm sorry if you think I'm skipping through this, but I'm really just giving you the highlights from this report. As I say, Whole thing is 150 pages long, covers AI, robotics, batteries, all that other stuff. And, you just go to ARC and download it. But don't worry, I'm here to give you the highlights. And here are the highlights on Bitcoin, which they describe as a monetary revolution. So in 2021, last year, Bitcoin reached 1 trillion in market capitalization. Now that's significant, but it's still early days on where a Bitcoin is actually going. So this is just a timeline of some of the big moments in Bitcoin in 2021, but we're not too worried about that. Let's instead of looking back, let's look forward. So one of the things, that ARC points out, they say that Bitcoin can continue to scale in response to technological breakthroughs. Of course, one of the things that people like to criticize Bitcoin about is they see that Bitcoin is scaling too slowly in comparison to other chains. But of course, people, the counter argument to that is, Bitcoin is a store of value. We don't necessarily want it to move fast and break things. It's more about just moving very, very slowly and steadily, because Bitcoin protects a lot of people's wealth in significant amounts. You never want to put that at risk just for the sake of, trying to speed things up. But, as layer 2 growth, the Lightning Network is poised perhaps to go exponential in the years to come, perhaps even a Bitcoin-denominated DeFi. Let's keep it going though. Bitcoin is attracting institutional holders, say ARC in this report. So they just list they've got the 10 largest publicly disclosed Bitcoin holders here. Grayscale Bitcoin Trust at number 1, 654,000 Bitcoins held by Grayscale. Block 1, they've got 140,000, that's from the EOS ICO back in 2018. MicroStrategy, Michael Saylor, they've got 121,000. Tesla, 42,000, and down it goes. But, I think the point is this is going to continue over the next decade. We'll see more and more institutional holders taking out positions. And of course, as well as those institutions, nation states, like we talked about before, nation states. El Salvador is only the first. Who will be next? Will it be Turkey, Panama, Tonga, Russia? All these countries starting to talk about it, and the more that they talk about it, eventually someone will jump, and then someone will follow them, and it will be very much game on. But yeah, El Salvador is the first. Shout out to El Salvador. ARC also say that concerns about Bitcoin's lack of sustainability are ill-informed. So they say that their research suggests Bitcoin has the potential to actually transform monetary history by providing financial freedom and empowerment in a fair, global, and distributed way. So the key point, the only one I'll talk about here, is environmental. They say Bitcoin is incentivizing new and efficient forms of renewable energy generation. Bitcoin mining, for example, can capture a natural gas that otherwise would be vented, flared, or wasted, and Bitcoin mining encourages investment in all these new intermittent energy systems, increasing renewables' share of energy provisioned to the grid. So it's counterintuitive, but I think that's one of the key trends of the next decade, Bitcoin incentivizing renewable energy. And as such, Bitcoin mining has evolved into a multi-billion-dollar industry. You can see that will continue as well. This is what we're talking about. Bitcoin mining could revolutionize energy production from renewable carbon-free sources. All right, here's the good stuff. Sorry if I'm flicking through this, but I want to keep this short. Now this is Bitcoin's share of the total market capitalization of all major asset classes, right? So this is as of November 2021. So this is global real estate, 220 trillion, bonds 124, global money supply 123, equities 106, Gold way down at 10 trillion. Bitcoin way down at 1.1 trillion. Now, they're projecting that Bitcoin will grow from 1 trillion to just under 30 trillion this decade. So by 2030, which is, it's just a smidge under, let's say 25x from here. So it's a 25x this decade in under 10 years. Sounds good, right? And even if that happens, right? So they're saying even if that happens, Bitcoin will still be, just a small percentage of the total market capitalization of all major asset classes. That in the purple is where Bitcoin would be in 2030, still dwarfed by equities, real estate, bonds, money supply, etc. So it seems doable. And in this slide, there's a little bit going on here, but this is just how Bitcoin would get there. It would. This is the use cases. Would grow to have 50% of global remittances, 25% of US bank settlement volumes, just 1% of total reserves on nation-state treasuries, 5% of global high net worth individual wealth, 2.5% of institutional investments, just a 5% in corporate treasuries of global S&P 500 companies, and perhaps 50% worth of gold's total market cap as Bitcoin transitions into digital gold. It's all fairly conservative. I mean, speculative, but achievable. If all this takes place over the next decade, then we're saying that the value of one individual Bitcoin will get to $1.1 million. Yes, said that right. So the price of one Bitcoin could exceed $1 million by 2030. So, yeah, thought that was interesting. I hope that, don't know if this comes true. We're just speculating here, right? But you can plot. All you can do is look to the future demand, kind of look to where have we gone in the past, where we might go in the future. Everything is volatile now, but hard not to see a Bitcoin continuing to appreciate in the long term. All right, let's start to finish that off. So I thought this was funny. This is Michael Saylor of Micro Strategy, one of the biggest holders of Bitcoin. And Michael keeps buying Bitcoin. He's extremely bullish on Bitcoin, extremely articulate on Bitcoin. But he was on the Up Only crypto internet show earlier today, and I thought this is a funny clip. It's just a meme, so don't take this too seriously, but please enjoy.
And I've also sat through some of the most euphoric op-only years.
We lost him.
Some of the most euphoric op-only years over the last decade. Is your strategy you just don't give a shit, you're buying no matter what, like periodically? Yeah.
Yeah. So, yeah. Is your strategy you're just buying? Yes, of course, says Michael. He's normally a little bit more articulate, but yeah, I couldn't really have said it better. All right, let's just close this out. Don't forget, if you do want to learn more about all this stuff, how crypto works, how to build your crypto wealth, how to not get shaken out by short-term volatility and build your confidence to be a confident, competent crypto investor here to build your long-term crypto wealth, well, come here to learn.dacxi.com, and yeah, there's all sorts of courses, explainers, webinars, ebooks. Everything is here to help you build your confidence. So I've spoken about this before. We'll speak about it more in the future. But yeah, that's the best way to build your confidence. All right. Probably said enough for today. I hope you enjoyed that. Thanks very much for watching. This was the Crypto Wealth Cafe for Dacxi, and we'll see you again next week. Bye for now.